this be one of the best moments of your life. You're listening to the Business Mirror Podcast for a broader look on business with Senior Editor Dennis Estopase.
Good day. Welcome to the Business Mirror BM Broader Look Podcast. Today's podcast focuses on the tobacco farming sector. We podcast the abridged version of the story titled Gold Leaf Farming Sector is Still Searching for Own El Dorado. The story was written by Business Mirror reporters Jasper Emmanuel Arcalas and Kai Ordinario and was published on December 3, 2020. For the text version online, please go to www.businessmirror.com.ph and search for Broader Look. For the print edition, please read the Business Mirror newspaper. Let's get on with the story. The past 5 years of the Philippine tobacco industry paints a bleak future. Dwindling tobacco area and declining number of farmers. The major culprit, falling domestic cigarette consumption due to higher excise taxes and anti-smoking initiatives both by the government and the private sector. Despite this, the tobacco industry, which started in the late 16th century, remains as one of the cornerstones of Philippine agriculture. The crop, also called gold leaf, still brings more than 3 billion pesos worth of value to the agriculture sector every year. Latest data from the National Tobacco Administration, or NTA, shows that total hectareage planted with tobacco plunged to a decade low of 18,911 hectares last year. Likewise, the number of tobacco farmers in the country last year fell to its lowest level in 10 years at 29,839 tillers, based on NTA data obtained by the Business Mirror. Despite these reductions, tobacco production in 2019 recovered to 46.571 million kilograms, putting a brake on the 9-year skid of output since 2010, the NTA data showed. The volume was 7.7% higher than the 43.241 million kilograms recorded in 2018, which was the lowest output since 2010. NTA Deputy Administrator for Operations, Roberto Bonoan, said last year's production recovery was caused by favorable weather conditions and better adoption of recommended technology by farmers. Bonoan explained to the Business Mirror that farmers have been receiving farm interventions from the NTA and leaf buyers. They also receive incentives if they follow proper technology applications. These incentives include farm inputs and subsidies, cash assistance, firewood assistance and gas, among others. However, despite these interventions, Bonoan admits that the local tobacco industry still lags behind other countries in terms of productivity due to the low adoption of farm machinery that could make farm work easier and more efficient. No less than Agriculture Secretary William Dar stated that there is a need to make Filipino tobacco farmers more competitive. Dar, who sits as chairman of the NTA Governing Board, emphasized the need for an industry development plan that would elevate the industry's productivity to be at par with foreign tobacco producers. In 2018, the NTA started crafting an industry roadmap to chart the future of tobacco farming, especially in light of rising sin taxes, declining cigarette consumption, and rising number of tobacco alternatives like vaping. The NTA tapped the University of the Asia and Pacific Center of Food and Agribusiness to conduct an industry study that would be the basis for the roadmap. By 2018, the study was completed and the tobacco industry roadmap was presented to the various stakeholders of the industry. The NTA noted then that the roadmap would guide the industry toward improving farmers' incomes, increasing exports, job creation, and crop diversification, including alternative farming systems, and provide inputs for the development of the manufacturing industries. But a key factor in achieving such goal was the appropriate and effective use of the Tobacco Fund. The Tobacco Fund was created by the 56-year-old Republic Act 4155 which seeks to promote the country's Virginia tobacco industry. The fund comprises half of all the tariffs or taxes on imported leaf tobacco collected and half of the total special taxes on locally manufactured Virginia-type cigarettes. As of the end of 2019, Department of Budget and Management documents showed that the tobacco fund stood at 71.86 billion pesos. The DBM document said the fund could increase this year to 80.751 billion pesos and 89.642 billion pesos by 2021. However, the bulk of the fund remains parked at the government's coffers due to the lack of a sound and proper programs that would convince the Department of Budget and Management to release the funds for the further development of the tobacco industry. Since 2015, the tobacco fund has been increasing by at least 6 billion pesos to as high as nearly 10 billion pesos. Total taxes and tariffs remitted to the tobacco fund last year reached 9.717 billion pesos. In contrast, government expenditure using the tobacco fund is barely scratching the surface. Department of Budget and Management documents analyzed by the Business Mirror showed that the NTA was only able to use from 2015 to 2019 a measly average of 500 million pesos of the parked money. In 2019, the NTA spent only nearly 401 million pesos from the tobacco fund. This was only 0.55% of the total pool. Bonoan told the Business Mirror they could hardly get some releases from the tobacco fund unless they submit a comprehensive and sound program. Bonoan says they are keeping their fingers crossed that the proposed 5-year Sustainable Tobacco Enhancement Program or STEP would be approved and would be a step in the right direction in tapping the tobacco funds and unlocking the remaining potential of the industry. Bonoan explained that the STEP seeks to fast-track the modernization and industrialization of the industry. The Sustainable Tobacco Enhancement Program is also now considered as the new and improved tobacco industry roadmap aligned with DAR's paradigm. The proposed STEP, which will run from 2021 to 2025, targets to double the net income of tobacco farmers by the 2024-2025 market period from 2019 to 2020 benchmark through increasing their revenues by double-digit growth. The targets are defined based on productivity and income rather than area expansion because tobacco is mainly market-driven, an NTA document read. The document added that industry players rely on demand from international buyers in programming their production. They cannot program expansion beyond what the market absorbs, otherwise they will incur losses. The NTA document added that the efforts are focused on the institutionalization of farm clustering along with modernization, industrialization of agriculture, export promotion, and infrastructure development as a key strategy for food security, while enhancing the development of the Philippine tobacco sector. The NTA document revealed that tobacco block farming would serve as a pillar of the 5-year plan as consolidating or clustering tobacco growers into one large production area would be a more efficient measure to improve their production. Block farms would then receive a series of farm interventions, including farm machineries, certified seeds, subsidized fertilizers, pesticides, and credit services. The NTA explained that through this program, traditional small-scale tobacco rice farmers, who at an average own less than a hectare of land, would grow into large commercial food systems or networks. At the end of the 5-year plan, tobacco farmers would have more efficient farm production and post-harvest operations while having more efficient marketing and distribution of their produce, according to the NTA. This will make the farmers to be competitive and resilient and strong enough to face challenges affecting the tobacco industry, the NTA, an attached agency of the Department of Agriculture, said. However, the 5-year plan's ambition comes with a caveat, an annual 7 billion peso utilization of the tobacco fund at least over the first 3 years of the program, or 21 billion pesos in total. According to Bonoan, if the NTA would be able to spend such an amount, tobacco farmers could be self-sustaining as early as the end of the third year of the program and would not need any additional interventions afterwards. Bonoan said it would be better if they would be able to get as much as 20 billion pesos per year. Bonoan noted that the tobacco fund continues to accrue revenues from imports and local production. The NTA said it will establish 2 model block farms in each of its 8 branch offices nationwide for the initial implementation of the program. A block farm would be formed by consolidating 25 hectares of contiguous tobacco area, which is equivalent to about 50 to 75 farmers per block. Bonoan said they have already identified 16 block farms nationwide, with some even exceeding the 25-hectare minimum requirement. He added that the NTA would assign 1 technician per block farm to assist in the land consolidation and in the economies of scale. Some of the block farms are in Vigan, Ilocos Sur, Badoc, Ilocos Norte, Candon, Ilocos Sur, Santa Maria, Ilocos Sur, Alcala, Pangasinan, Quezon, Isabela, and Tuwao, Cagayan. Bonoan said he believes that with this initiative, the distribution and use of farm machinery would be more efficient since farmers would not rent farm machinery individually anymore. The NTA said the interventions that would be provided to the block farms would cover its strategic programs concerning market research and trade developments, accelerated farm services, community research management and cooperative farming operations, and agribusiness and institutional development. According to Rolando D. of the Center for Food and Agribusiness of the University of Asia and the Pacific, the NTA's plan to push block farming in tobacco is meritorious. The idea is that a cluster of farmers will coordinate their land preparation and planting. However, there is a need to have a central nursery and there must be a clear focal person for each block. Marie Annette Galvez Dacul, Senior Agribusiness Specialist of the University of Asia and Pacific Center for Food and Agribusiness, said the government's sustainable tobacco program is the way to go for the industry to be competitive because it brings the best standards in agricultural practices. Consolidation brings about economies of scale, she said. Roelano Briones, Senior Research Fellow of the Philippine Institute for Development Studies or PIDS, agreed. Briones said block farming could work for the tobacco farmers. However, a certain level of economies of scale is needed. This means investing in a more efficient curing process that will allow the move away from coal. This, nonetheless, would increase the processing cost of farmers. Briones said if the economics of this cost can be justified, block farming can be a good way to continue farmers' incomes and the tobacco industry as a whole. Briones said for block farming or land consolidation to work, the government should endeavor to change the country's laws. Briones said that currently the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law, which gave birth to the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, doesn't allow land consolidation. The law, passed in 1988, aims to achieve a more equitable distribution and ownership of land in the country. Briones said he believes that land policy should look not on the bondage to farmers but land's bondage to poverty. Briones said it would be better if the farmers are released from poverty whether they cultivate the land or not. In order to increase farmers' productivity, one of the key programs of the NTA is farm mechanization. From 2018 to 2019, the NTA said it has distributed 26 tractors to tobacco farmers cooperatives in Region 1 and Abra. For the current crop year 2020 to 2021, the NTA said it has given 17 four-wheel tractors and 16 power tillers to cooperative beneficiaries as well as 9 solar-powered irrigation systems installed in tobacco-producing provinces, which services 47.38 hectares of area. The NTA said the use of farm machinery is critical in improving farmers' productivity since tobacco production is labor-intensive. The use of tractors and power tillers reduce farmers' costs at the land preparation level. The loss of farm workers in the agriculture sector in general due to greener pasture in other sectors of the economy has also become a burden to tobacco production since labor costs have doubled in recent years. Rolando D., Executive Director of the University of Asia and Pacific Center for Food and Agribusiness, said the efforts to modernize the sector are in order, using fuel tractors rather than pedestrian ones, especially for farms that are proximate to each other, would help in land preparation efforts. Roelano Briones, Senior Research Fellow of the Philippine Institute for Development Studies, told the Business Mirror that for farmers in tobacco-producing provinces, growing the golden leaf offers a way out of poverty. It's a cash crop, so even on a smaller land area, they can still get a bigger income, especially if they sell one of the higher grade types of tobacco, Briones said. Briones added that compared to rice, the income from tobacco is up to 2 times to 3 times. That's still the case, he said, because actually a lot of the country's high-grade tobacco is being exported as well. Briones noted that the Philippines actually exports numerous types of tobacco and even finished tobacco products. Tobacco, as a crop that thrives in dry conditions, is a good alternative for rice farmers. While rice is mainly grown during the wet season, the dry season would see farmers planting other crops, including tobacco. According to Rolando D., growing tobacco has been instrumental in poverty reduction in provinces where the crop is grown. He said the returns in tobacco farming could be around 600 pesos per kilogram on average for Virginia tobacco, while for barley, about 100 pesos per kilogram. The NTA data shows that tobacco is grown in 21 provinces nationwide. Virginia tobacco is grown in Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, Abra, and La Union in Region 1. The same provinces, along with Pangasinan, Isabela, Cagayan, Tarlac, and Occidental Mindoro, also grow barley tobacco. The NTA said native and or dark tobacco is grown in Pangasinan, La Union, Cagayan, Isabela, Nueva Vizcaya, Quirino, Capiz, Iloilo, Cebu, Negros Oriental, Leyte, Zamboanga del Sur, Bukidnon, Misamis Oriental, North Cotabato, and Maguindanao. Galvez Dacul said that based on 2018 estimates and at support price of 78 pesos per kilogram, farmers growing Virginia tobacco could earn around 48,000 pesos per hectare per year to 76,500 pesos per hectare per year, since tobacco farmers only plant once a year. In the areas they visited for their 2018 study, Dacul said those planting native or barley tobacco alongside rice or corn earn around 45,000 pesos per hectare for 2 croppings. This means planting tobacco is necessary to keep farmers financially afloat. With this extra income, farmers are able to see some improvement in their lives. This has also translated to improvements in the poverty rates of provinces where they live. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority showed that poverty incidence among families in 2018 was in the single digits in the provinces where a significant amount of Virginia tobacco is being grown. These provinces are Ilocos Sur, Ilocos Norte, and La Union. Based on the Philippine Statistics Authority data, the poverty rate among families in La Union was the lowest at 2.9%, followed by Ilocos Norte at 3.1% and Ilocos Sur at 5.5%. Of the 3 provinces, Ilocos Sur produced the most Virginia tobacco at 20,184.46 metric tons in 2018. The earnings of farmers from tobacco farming is better than what they can earn from palay, Rolando D. told the Business Mirror. Rolando D. said to produce 5 tons of palay per hectare at a farm gate price of 15 pesos would lead to earnings of 75,000 pesos per season.
Thank you for listening to the Business Mirror podcast. For a broader look on business, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Business Mirror. Until next time.